Hello, this is Fakar. This is going to be a quick video series on Masterwork Dwarf Fortress for Unplayable Garbage. It's a game I recommended. It was top my list of a game that everyone have to play that I'm sure a lot of people have heard of but never really gave a try. It's extremely complicated. There's extremely steep learning curve for this game, and there's no victory condition. So it sounds like a terrible waste of time because you can't win, you will lose, but losing is fun. So this first video is just going to be a quick little getting started, creating your first world, creating a world in Masterwork Dwarf Fortress, and doing the embark setup. So first thing, I'm going to assume that you can go to the website that I provided on the Unplayable Garbage website and download Masterwork Dwarf Fortress. The version I linked I believe, is the latest Masterwork mod pack for Dwarf Fortress, but it hasn't been updated for the latest Dwarf Fortress. I believe it's 40.24 in this. So one thing I will mention though is that there is a little item that you want to do before you actually start playing the game, and that is you want to go to utilities and you want to run large address aware, and basically what that does is it allows the game, because the game was originally started development in the 2000s, this lets you use more than a gig of memory. I've already done this, but you want to run large address aware on Dwarf Fortress. So I'm going to go run this right here now. So this is Masterwork. The version I have, Masterwork 0.05, I think it's 0.06 is the most current version. So I'm going to go Dwarf Fortress. I'm going to run Dwarf Fortress. I'm going to run this item. I'm allowed to use 1 and 2 gigs of memory because, like I said, it's an old game. This development started a long time ago, before we had much more RAM in our computer, so it's going to be good to have much available to you because the game is very intensive. So quick run through my settings. These are all default. I have set my cap down to 100 people. Seasonal autosaves. I'm going to turn on initial save. I use the Phoebus color. I use text will be text print mode. I use the Masterwork font. I use the Phoebus tile set. I don't bother with true type. I will leave FPS display on, a hard cap for graphics of 30 and an FPS cap of 150. This is how fast the game runs calculation in the background. And that's about it. Under utilities, I'm going to, this is the large address aware, by the way, open up Therapist before I get started. It's going to say I can't find Dwarf Fortress, that's fine. And I'm going to open up Masterwork Dwarf Fortress. Two things opened there. One was DF Hack and one was Dwarf Fortress. So you know DF Hack for now. We'll go to Dwarf Fortress. We're going to design a new world with advanced parameters, and Masterwork adds a handful of worlds that have already been regenerated for you. It will regenerate them, but these have already been set up to generate a set of worlds for you. So I'm going to go with let's go with desert volcanoes, and I'm just going to run for 50 years. That's good enough. Use this world as it currently is. I have to accept it. This game, by the way, is extremely keyboard driven. There is a little bit of mouse usability added in through DF Hack, but it is by and large a keyboard played game. So you'll start learning a bunch of keyboard commands as you get into it. So we're going to start playing in Dwarf Fortress mode. Because we only have one world, it's not going to ask us which save we want to use. When we start the game, it's going to advance the game by 2 weeks, which just ran through on the calendar there. Now we get to pick what it is. So on the right side here, we have, at the far right, we have what we're looking at. We have some details of it. We have the whole world as it was generated. We have a zoomed in of the whole world, and then we have the maximum zoom. So in this little yellow X here on the region mode, everything in this yellow X is contained within these block, and this green 3x3 square is going to be where we'd actually play Dwarf Fortress. So I'm just going to select a volcano that I want to play on. So, not there. Where should I play? Let's see. No. I'm not going to spend long with this. I'm going to spend a little bit of time though. I find that in this pre-generated set of world, there's always a few good volcanoes. I like going to volcanoes because it allows you to play with magma really early on without having to dig deep down to it. It's going to be near the surface, so you don't have to have a very deep mine shaft down to it or pump the lava all the way up to where you want to use it. You get to, like I said, play with it early. So if we press F1 and F2, down in the corner we have two sets of biomes. If there's a third biome in this little 3x3, we would have F1, F2, F3 appearing here, but it's only two. So in the first one, the area is the Hill of the Gilding. It's temperate grasslands. It's hot. There's sparse trees. So there's some trees. There's moderate vegetation. It is wilderness. It's green, which means it's not that dangerous. And there is little soil, shallow metal, and deep metals. And this area here is the Badlands. It is scorching hot. There are scarce trees. There are scarce vegetation. Wilderness, little soil, shallow metals, deep metals, and fluxstone layer. So that's good. We want fluxstone. We need flux to purify iron into steel. So this seems fine. E to embark. Yes, I'm sure. Very carefully. And do something a little bit different. I'm going to not train my dwarves in the jobs I'm going to be doing. I'm instead going to train them in a little tiny bit of weaponsmithing and armor smithing. And that is for the purpose of Fey moods. And that's because they have a chance to basically get divine inspiration. And with that divine inspiration, they'll hopefully become an armor or weaponsmith. So they'll get divine inspiration. They'll go and commandeer a workstation. They'll start gathering up a whole bunch of random materials, and they'll furiously start working on an item. And if they're lucky, they'll make that item. They'll become a master at that craft, whether it be carpentry or metal crafting or bone working or whatever. There's a handful of different skills you make. Clothing, I believe, is mutable. So by training a little bit in weaponsmith and armorsmith, there's a chance that they will become weaponsmith and armorsmith, be taken by Fey mood, gather a bunch of materials that they need, and then go to that station and become a master at one of those two skills. And those are very important because you want high quality weapons and armors for your military. So press tab, we go over here to our items and our animals. So by the way, the same set of points carry over between your skills and your items. So if you want lots of skills, you're not going to have a whole lot of items. If you have lots of items, you want to have a whole lot of skills. So by default, this is what we were given. So 2 copper picks, 1 battle axe, 2 battle axes rather. We're going to drop one of the battle axes. We're going to keep the iron anvil. Take a few more items here. I'm not too particular on what we're getting here. I'm not going to bother with the cloth or the quiver or the ropes or the wheelbows. Wheelbows and those wooden items that we just got rid of there are easily made. By the way, it's plus and minus keys to add and remove items. And for new, we're going to take a little bit of each of these meats. Each of these items comes in its own barrel, so we're basically getting free barrels here and a little bit of food. And going to pick a bunch of these fish. Again, more food and more barrels. You can tell that I've done this before because I'm just kind of pounding through it quickly. Other items I want, I'm probably going to want some dwarven beer. Dwarven dwarves need alcohol to get through their day. I know there's some days when I need a little bit of alcohol to get through my day. We are going to take powder, gypsum powder. This is for casts. If they get injured and they get a broken bone, they need cast to be able to set it. Stone, I'm going to take a little bit of marble. Marble is a flux stone. And I'm going to take a little bit of an iron ore. Yeah, I'm going to take a little bit of iron ore here, and you have to kind of know what these different materials are. Limonite, hematite, they're both iron ores. Some of these should be pretty common. Malachite is a copper ore. Galena is a mixture of copper and silver. Sphalerite, I believe, is tin. And cassiterite is copper, although I might have those two backwards. Platinum is just obvious. Cinnabar, I believe, is mercury. Cobaltite is cobalt. Tetrahedrite is copper for sure. Silver. Kimberlite is diamond. Bismuthinite is bismuth. Bauxite is aluminum. Native aluminum is aluminum you don't have to process. Magnetite is also iron, so I'm going to take some magnetite. Not a ton. 10, basically. And what else? Extracts. Yeah, let's take some extracts. Let's take some milk. And take about 30 or 40 milk. 30 is fine. Let's go through what else we got here. That's fine. So I'm going to go over to our animals here. You get 2 pack animals. If you're lucky, you'll get a breeding pair, but it's not really required. I wouldn't save scum to try to get a breeding pair. But I will take a couple dogs. These are male dogs. The little icon here is in the default no texture pack, which means no different text. This little necklace would be the male symbol. So I'm going to take, let's take 3 male dogs, and let's take 5 female dogs, 2 male cats, 2 female cats. Cats are good because they keep vermin down. They're bad because they breed like crazy. I'm not going to bother in these pack animals or pigs. I will take a couple hens and a pair of roosters. And then we'll take a couple ducks. Oh, I'm out of points. So I'm going to actually take less magnetite and get a couple ducks, a pair of drakes, and a couple geese, and again a couple ganders. And some turkey hens, and a gobbler. Not a war turkey gobbler, just a regular gobbler. Basically male and female turkeys. I'll take a couple bunnies because they breed like rabbits. And I'm not seeing anything else terribly interesting here. I believe in Masterwork Dwarf Fortress there was booze belly goats, and you could take their cheese, take their milk and make it into cheese, and take the cheese and turn it into booze, or maybe just the milk turn into booze. But I believe they got removed, or I'm just not finding them in this world. So that's that. Let's see, 16 points. Sure, let's just take the rest of it as milk. And you press E to embark. Should have warned you up front though, but if you press embark on this screen, you just embark. There's no warning. So we've arrived after our long journey from mountain homes. We have arrived with a party of 7, and we now have to strike the earth. And oh, here we go. Alright, so we press tab to just kind of change view a little bit. This is the view I prefer. This game is, like I said, keyboard driven, but there's a few mouse things added through DF Hack. We can hover over with the mouse. We can see in the bottom corner here. This is soil wall. This is a light grass ramp. These arrows up mean that it's a ramp going up, or at least it's a ramp. There is stone wall. If we click on it, we can see it's a dacite wall. This is a obsidian wall. It's warm, which means it's next to lava or near lava. This is actual lava. You'll have to press escape here and take a look at your key bindings, your general key bindings, and look through them. To go up and down Z levels, you want to go up, down Z levels, so that your key bindings for that default, I believe, are period and comma, but I'm not 100% certain about that. You'll want to check what the defaults are. I've already set them up for what I prefer, and that's my scroll wheel and period and 0 on my numpad. So I'm going to save and exit, and return to the game. And I'm going to take a quick look around here with my direction keys. Okay, we can see that there are rough-hewn native copper wall, so that means we got some copper here. Looks like a pretty decent area. There is open space here, and there's lava here, so we have basically no space there. We're right next to lava. Good and bad. If we were to mine out this wall accidentally or intentionally, lava would just start pouring everywhere. These are lava source blocks, which means that they would have an endless supply of lava. So we could easily flood this place with lava. These little brown and white circles here are trees. So this is a birch trunk. This is an alder trunk. This is a prickleberries. Some roots. If we look up and down, we can see that these trees go from trunk to a bunch of branches to a bunch of leaves. These are all the things we came with, so we can see that we got some stray dogs, we got some ducks, we got some turkey hens, we got some of our dwarves here. So before I get into, and of course some little bunny rabbits, this object here is going to be our wagon. So we can press X to remove the wagon, which will cause all the items to basically fall out of it. Right now it's being used like a storage building. Only one that really exists in the game is the one you start with here. You can't make more of them sort of stuff. We'll have to use stockpiles for that later. We go through it. It's used up. These 3 rough wooden logs are being used by the building. We can also see by using the plus and minus arrow keys, sorry, those plus minus keys, the items are in here. So we have a bunch of barrels and different bags of stuff. A couple copper picks. So I'm going to pause it here and I'll come back to it in the next one. Bye.